Welcome to the San Jose-Santa Clara Regional Wastewater Facility Worker Environmental Awareness Training. The purpose of this training is to provide information about sensitive environmental resources in or near the project area and the measures the project has committed to in order to protect these resources. The project's environmental documents and specifications require that all project personnel attend an environmental training before starting work. Successful implementation of these measures can help prevent unnecessary delays or legal penalties. Failure to follow these guidelines could result not only in project delays or shutdowns, but also individual fines or imprisonment. The training brochure, which you should have at this point or receive very soon, contains most of the information included in this video. While working on the project, reference this handout whenever necessary. This brochure also has the contact information for the project manager in case you need to alert them of a sensitive resource. Sensitive resources include biological resources like plant and animal species and the sensitive habitats that support them, as well as archaeological and paleontological resources. These resources are also often protected by state and/or federal laws. The following sections will cover the sensitive resources and steps that you are responsible for taking if you encounter them on site. Then the training will conclude with a review of some general project environmental rules.
Condon's tar plant is a California endangered species. This plant is native to and found only in California. It is a spiky annual plant that has a short, compact growth structure, yellow flowers, and sticky, strong-smelling glands from which it gets its name. It typically blooms between May to October through most of its range. It is most commonly found in grasslands and disturbed areas. Measures to protect Condon's tar plant include staying within the designated work area. Known populations in and around the project site have been flagged for avoidance. Do not enter flagged areas and do not remove any fencing, flagging, or signs. Broadcast herbicides will not be used in or around areas supporting Condon's tar plant. Herbicide will only be applied through spot treatment, conducted by persons familiar with Condon's tar plant and able to identify the species to avoid it. The western pond turtle or Pacific pond turtle is a California species of concern. Large adults can be as long as 8 inches. The western pond turtle has a long tail, a dull brown or olive upper shell that is low and broad, a yellow plastron or lower shell, and a cream-colored throat. The other common turtle species in the area, the red-eared slider, has a distinct red line on its neck. The western pond turtle is the only freshwater turtle native to California. It is most commonly seen basking on rocks, logs, or shorelines during the day, and quickly dives underwater when approached. This turtle can inhabit almost any body of water large enough and with enough basking opportunities, even if water quality is low. It may also be found in upland areas traveling between ponds. Females also leave the water to lay their eggs on dry land. Virtually all nesting birds are protected under the Federal Migratory Nesting Bird Treaty Act and/or California state law. While many people think of birds nesting in trees, many may nest in shrubs, grasses, or other tall vegetation, as well as man-made structures like buildings, bridges, or fences. And some species may nest directly on the ground. Birds typically nest between February 1st and August 31st, and nesting bird surveys are required during this period before work begins in a new area, or if work stops in an area for more than 14 days. If possible, tree trimming or removal should be conducted outside the nesting season. During the nesting season, trees need to be examined by a biologist prior to any trimming or removal. Active nests are protected year-round, and some nests may be protected even if they are empty. If an active nest is present in or near the work area, a no-work buffer or reduced work buffer will be established around the nest. The size of these buffers will be determined by biologists based on the species and specific site conditions. Do not enter these areas or remove any fencing, flagging, or signs marking the boundaries. Do not disturb or remove any nests. As mentioned earlier, even inactive nests may be protected. Report any suspected nests or nesting activity to your supervisor and the project manager. The western burrowing owl, a California state species of special concern, is a small owl active during the day that nests underground in the burrows of small mammals, especially those of ground squirrels. Western burrowing owls may also use culverts and other human-made structures. Suitable habitat includes open spaces such as grasslands, agricultural fields, airfields, and levees. These owls are most active at dawn and dusk when they do most of their foraging. They are most commonly seen during the day, perched on the ground near a burrow entrance, or perhaps on a fence post or other short perch. The burrowing owl breeding season is February 1st to August 31st. Measures to protect burrowing owls include pre-construction surveys, which are required year-round. 250-foot no-work buffers will be established around any predetermined occupied burrows within or near the project area. Work within these buffers may be allowed during the non-breeding season under the supervision of a biologist. If western burrowing owls are observed on-site at any time during construction, earth-disturbing activities shall be suspended until a qualified biologist can determine if an active burrow is present. Wetlands are lands where saturation with water is the dominant factor determining the nature of soil development and the types of plant and animal communities living in the soil and on its surface. This includes obvious features like lakes, ponds, and rivers, but can also include areas like seasonal wetlands, vernal pools, or ephemeral drainages, which may appear dry for much of the year. Impacts to wetlands require the review and permission from a wide variety of federal, state, and local agencies. As protected wetlands may not be obvious, it is important to stay within the designated work area. If the work area needs to be expanded, the project environmental team will need to evaluate new areas to identify potential wetlands. The project has committed to avoiding impacts to these adjacent wetlands. Barrier fencing and signs will be installed between active work areas and avoided wetlands. Adequate sediment controls must also be installed and maintained between active work areas and adjacent wetlands during all phases of construction. No project personnel, material, or equipment should enter protected wetlands. No project runoff will be permitted to enter any wetlands.
While no known archaeological or paleontological sites are present within the project area, excavation does have the potential to unearth previously unknown materials. If any prehistoric or historical material is found, there will not be any adverse consequences for reporting them. If you are unsure of any materials found, report them to your supervisor and project manager. Cultural and paleontological resources are protected by law, and willful damage or collection could result in stiff legal penalties or imprisonment. Cultural resources you may encounter include items such as bones or bone fragments, flake stone such as arrowheads or ground stone, ash, shells, burned wood or rocks, as well as bottles, ceramics, or wood. If you encounter any of these materials, do not disturb them. Immediately stop work within 100 feet and notify your supervisor and project manager. Work within 100 feet must remain stopped until the fine can be assessed. If paleontological resources such as fossilized bone, teeth, shell, tracks, or impressions are discovered during ground disturbing activities, stop work within 100 feet and notify your supervisor and project manager immediately. The following are general project-wide rules. Measures to protect air quality include the following. All exposed surfaces, like parking areas, staging areas, soil piles, graded areas, and unpaved access roads, shall be watered at least 2 times per day. All haul trucks transporting soil, sand, or other loose material off-site shall be covered. All visible mud or dirt track out onto adjacent public roads shall be removed using wet power vacuum street sweepers at least once per day. All trucks and equipment, including their tires, shall be washed off prior to leaving the site. No drainage or runoff from the project site should flow to wetlands, drainages, or other environmentally sensitive areas. Other measures to protect water quality include installing, checking, and maintaining adequate silt control measures prior to rain, and implementing the project SWIP, or Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, if applicable. Thank you for your attention during this training. If you haven't already received the accompanying brochure, be sure to ask your supervisor for a copy. If you have any questions about this training, please contact your supervisor or the project manager. You will be asked to sign an acknowledgement that you watched this training and know your responsibilities.